Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel Pratik Singh Classes. In this video we are going to start. This is the fourth video for chapter 4 and 18th video for CBSE Standard 10 Science. Okay, till the last three videos of chapter 4 we have seen a lot of things. We have seen what is the special property of carbon, then how do they make covalent bonds with itself and other elements. Then we have seen about sharing of electrons. In chapter 2 we have seen how ionic bonds or electrovalent bonds are formed, and in this chapter we have seen in the starting that how covalent bonds are formed or what are covalent compounds. Okay, then we have seen some special allotropes of carbon like graphite, diamond, okay, Buckminster Florence, and the properties we have seen. Then we have seen versatile nature of carbon. Okay, that what makes it different from the other compounds and elements. Okay, you will be amazed to know that carbon makes compounds in the number far bigger, far greater than the compounds of other elements. Okay, then we have seen what is the definition of organic compound, how the word organic compounds are formed. Okay, then we have seen about saturated and unsaturated carbon compounds. Okay, then there we have seen carbon carbon single bond, carbon carbon double bond, and carbon carbon triple bonds. Then we have seen the concept of alkane, alkene, and alkyne. Okay, then we have seen the concept of straight chain, branch chain, ring chain we have seen. Okay, then we have seen a lot of other things. Okay, then we have seen about functional groups with the formula. Then homologous series we have seen. uh, then today we will start from section 2 point, sorry, section 4.2.5, that is nomenclature of carbon compounds. Means how can we name the carbon compound. If suppose the formula is given or the structure is given, what may be the name scientifically, okay, which is internationally accepted. Okay, so let us start. But before I start our today's video tutorial, let me request to all of you that please subscribe my YouTube channel Pratik Singh Classes, watch the videos, ask your doubts, okay, and hit the bell icons for all, so that whenever I will upload a new video, you will get its instant notification. All right, so let us start our today's tutorial, that is nomenclature of carbon compounds. Before I start this topic, you must know what is the word meaning, prefix and suffix. Prefix means the term which comes before a particular word, and suffix means which comes afterward. Okay, the names of compounds in a homologous series are based on the name of the basic carbon chain modified by a prefix or phrase before or suffix like phrase after. The same thing which we have studied in English. Okay, just a minute, let me select the pen. Okay, fine. And this indicates the name of the functional group. So whether a prefix or a suffix is given, most of the time it will be the functional group which will be connected to the hydrocarbon. Okay, for example, the name alcohols are taken in activity 4.2 are methanol, ethanol, propanol, and butanol. So here you can see the four names. In all of them, at the last OL, the letters OL are attached. Okay, so that is the prefix, I'm sorry, that is the suffix for alcohols. Okay, either we say methyl alcohol, ethyl alcohol, propyl alcohol, or butyl alcohol, or we say methanol, ethanol, propanol, and butanol. Okay, so here some rules are given for the nomenclature of compounds. Naming a carbon compound can be done in the following methods. So in total 4 or 5 methods are given here. Okay, 4 methods are given here. First, identify the number of carbon atoms in a compound. Okay, so you have to find out how many numbers of carbon is attached in the carbon in that compound. So, and also whether you have to select the longest carbon chain, okay, in a branch if it is a branched compound. A compound having 3 carbon atoms would have the name propane. Okay, so in earlier video I have shared you what may be the names of carbon compounds, okay, in a series, okay, it comes like metha, etha, propa, buta, penta, hexa, hepta, octa, nona and deca, okay, from 1 to 10. Just for class 10th, 1 to 10 is enough to remember. In case a functional group is present, it is indicated in the name of the compound with either a prefix or suffix as given in table 4.4. Okay, so as you can see here, if you have a halo group, okay, or halogen as functional group, okay, you have to write the prefix of the element of the halogen group. Halogen group means fluorine family, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. Okay, so if one chlorine is attached, okay, it will be called as chloro as the prefix, and you can see here this carbon molecule has 3 atoms. So for 3 atoms we have the word propa, so the name of the compound will become chloropropane. Okay, just a minute, let me switch on the battery of this laptop. All right, like if suppose we take bromine and a bromine atom is attached to propane, means when a bromine atom will substitute one hydrogen atom from propane, okay, the name will become bromopropane. Okay, for alcohol we use the suffix ol. Okay, for halogen group we have used prefix. Okay, for alcohol we will use the suffix ol. Okay, like if suppose alcohol, the formula is bond OH, okay, or OH minus. So as you can see here, one hydrogen atom is substituted by OH group, okay, or OH ion, and here the name came propanol. Okay, propa for 3 carbon atoms and ol for alcohol OH group. Okay, aldehyde CHO as we have seen earlier. So here you can see that we have 3 carbon atoms in this molecule. So the word for 3 carbon atom is propa, and for aldehyde it is al. So the name will become propanol. So as you can see in the example 2 and 3, there are the differences of the functional group and slight change in the name. One, when it is ol it is propanol, and when it is al it is propanol. Okay, so you have to take care of the spelling also while you see any compound. Then for ketone we have the suffix bond co bond. Okay, so here you can see that we have 3 carbon atoms, okay, and they are sorry, attached with each other with single bond. And for ketone we have the suffix on. Okay, because of 3 carbon atoms we have propa and suffix on, so propanone. Okay, likewise carboxylic acid, okay, suffix is oic acid. Okay, bond COOH. So as here you can see we have 3 carbon atoms, so propane, propa and oic for COOH, so we will have the name propanoic acid. Then double bond alkenes, okay, 3 carbon atom, so the word came propene. And when we have triple bond, okay, it is propine. Okay, now coming to the next, if the name of the functional group is to be given as suffix, the name of carbon chain is modified by deleting the final e and adding the appropriate suffix. Okay, so as we can see here, when we have in alkane family, methane, ethane, propane, butane, okay, the last e is removed and the name of the suffix is attached here. Okay, so when we have the suffix, for an example we are saying, when we have a suffix ol for alcohol, okay, for 3 carbon atoms we have the name propane, so remove if at last and add ol at last, so it will become propanol. Okay, likewise for aldehyde, okay, here 3 carbon atoms. Okay, so the name for 3 carbon atom in hydrocarbon in alkane family will become propane. Remove e from there and add al. Okay, so the name will become propanol. Carbon in all its allotropic forms burnt in oxygen to give carbon dioxide along with the release of heat and light. Okay, so as an example, whenever we burn petrol or diesel or kerosene, oil, whatever we have as fuel from hydrocarbon, okay, when it reacts with oxygen, it gives us carbon dioxide and other gases also, okay, and it gives us heat and light as well. Most carbon compounds also release a large amount of heat and light on burning. These are oxidation reactions which you have studied in chapter first, okay, and a lot of things we have studied in chapter first about oxidation and reduction, okay. So let me give you one again a small review that whenever an atom or a compound reacts with oxygen, okay, is called as oxidation. Or from a compound when hydrogen comes out or electrons comes out, that is also an example of oxidation reaction. And please keep in mind that oxidation reaction never happens without reduction reaction. So the word came oxidation reduction is equal to redox reaction. So here you can see carbon plus oxygen, okay, it gives carbon dioxide plus heat and light. Here carbon may be in the form of coal or any fuel. Methane, one of the smallest compound of hydrocarbon, okay. Methane plus oxygen, when methane burns, okay, it gives carbon dioxide, okay, then water vapor, and in this reaction heat and light comes out. Likewise, ethan ethanol, when it is burned, okay, when it reacts with oxygen, it gives carbon dioxide, water vapor, and heat and light, okay. Balance the latter two reactions like you have studied in the previous chapter, okay. So here in these two, number second and number third, okay, the reaction is not balanced, you have to balance it. So write the correct balanced equation in the comment section of this video, and I will correct and give the name in the next video. Fine. So here we have an activity, we have two activities to do, and this activity must be done in the presence of a teacher. Take some carbon compound like naphthalene, camphor, alcohol one by one in a spatula and try to burn them, okay. And while you are doing this activity, always keep your face away from the place where these compounds are being burned, or better wear protective gears. Observe the nature of flame and note whether a smoke is produced. So here you have to write whether the flame has come or not, what is the color of the flame, okay, and then whether they have produced any kind of a smoke. Place a metal plate above the flame, okay. Is there a deposition on the plate in the case of any of these compounds? You have to find it out, okay. Then again, next activity 4.4, lighten a Bunsen burner and adjust the air hole in the base to get different types of flames presence of smoke. So what happens here is, in the Bunsen burner, okay, we can regulate the amount of air going inside, okay, near the flame, okay. And because a different amount of gas, the Bunsen burners will give you different color of flame, okay. If the amount of oxygen or the air supplied is sufficient, okay, you will get high amount of heat and lesser amount of smoke. But if the air supply is not sufficient or oxygen supply is not sufficient, okay, it will give you yellow color flame, and also the amount of smoke coming out will be very high, okay. It means that a lot of fuel hasn't burned, okay. When do you get a yellow sooty flame? Okay, it happens when the air supply is very less. When do you get a blue flame? When we give sufficient supply of air. All right. Saturated hydrocarbons will generally give a clean flame, while unsaturated carbon compounds will give a yellow flame with lots of black smoke. So this sentence is very important for your exam purpose, okay, and also for your future studies, okay. Once again, saturated hydrocarbons, those hydrocarbons which contain only carbon-carbon single bonds, okay, will give you clean flame, okay, and very less amount of smoke. While when we have unsaturated hydrocarbon, like when we have a compound having carbon carbon double bond on or carbon carbon triple bond, one or more, okay, then it will give you yellow flame, and also it will give you huge amount of black smoke, means a lot of fuel has gone unburnt. Okay, so this just a minute. This results in the sooty deposit on the metal plate in activity 4.3, which we have seen right now. What happens in case when we have insufficient amount of airflow or oxygen flow when a fuel burns? Okay, whenever we have insufficient amount of oxygen or airflow while the fuel is burning, we have yellow flame with lots of black deposits, and this results in a sooty deposit on a metal plate, as we have seen earlier in this activity 4.3. However, limiting the supply of air results in incomplete combustion of even saturated hydrocarbons, giving a sooty flame. Means if suppose we have saturated hydrocarbon and if we are burning them with insufficient amount of air or oxygen, then again it will give us a sooty flame. Means whenever we have a sooty flame, that means that indicates that the fuel hasn't burnt, okay, and there are some amount of fuel which has gone unused. Okay, the gas or kerosene stove used at home has inlets for air so that a sufficient oxygen rich mixture is burnt to give a clean blue flame. Okay, if you have seen the old kerosene stove, we before we burn the kerosene stove, we have to pump air at very high pressure. So when that air mixed or oxygen mixed kerosene comes out from the nozzle, it gives blue flame. And whenever we have blue flame, that the heat content there will be very very high. If you observe the bottoms of cooking vessel getting blackened, it means that air holes are blocked and fuel is getting wasted. Okay, so whenever you see this thing, you have to clean the burners of your gas stove. Fuels such as coal and petroleum have some amount of nitrogen and sulfur in them. Their combustion results in the formation of oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, which are the major pollutants in the environment and major cause of lung cancer. Why do substances burn with or without a flame? Okay, here the question comes is, when you burn kerosene oil, it will give you flame, but when you burn coal, it will give you light but not the flame. Okay, you cannot light your room at night while burning coal, but while burning a candle you can lit your room at dark in the night. So why does it happen that substances, some of them burn with a flame and some burn without a flame? Have you ever observed either a coal or a wood fire? Okay, we already have seen this thing happening around us, that what happens when coal burns and what happens when wood catches fire. Okay, and if you haven't taken any observation from that, let us see what is given here. Okay, if not, the next time you get a chance, take close note of what happens when wood or coal starts to burn. You have seen above that the candle or the LPG in the gas stove burns with a flame. However, you will observe the coal or charcoal is an in an angithi sometimes just glow red and gives out heat without flame. Okay, they don't give light in very high sufficient amount to lit the room there. This is because a flame is only produced when gaseous substance is burned. Okay, do remember that a flame will be given out, you will get a flame only when a gaseous substance is burned. When wood or charcoal is ignited, the volatile substances present vaporize and burn with a flame in the beginning. Okay, and after that, okay, it stops giving huge light and it gives only heat. A luminous flame is seen when atoms of gaseous substances are heated and start to glow. Do remember that. Okay, we will get flame, we will get glow only when a gaseous substance burns. Okay, As given here, a luminous flame is seen when the atoms of the gaseous substances are heated and starts to glow. The color produced by each element is characteristic property of that element. Means different element in gaseous form, when they will catch fire, okay, they will give you different illumination. That means different colored light. Okay. Try and heat a copper wire in the flame or a gas stove and observe its color. Okay, means after the copper wire becomes superheated, what changes happens in its color, whether it change in the luster. We have seen that incomplete combustion gives soot with carbon. Okay, on this basis, what do you attribute the yellow color of a candle flame to? Okay, there whenever we burn a candle and if it glows yellow flame, that means there happens a lot of fuel waste. Okay, full combustion doesn't happen there. Okay, formation of coal and petroleum. How coal and petroleum has formed in this earth, you have studied that in class 8th and 9th. Okay, so let us have a quick revision here. Coal and petroleum have been found from biomass which has been subjected to various biological and geological processes. Okay, inside the earth core, inside the earth crust. How have this happened? Okay, because biomass has gone deep down the earth, and because of very high temperature and pressure, and for long time, they have converted into coal and petroleum. Coal is the remains of trees, ferns and other plants that lived millions of years ago. And also for conversion of biomass into petroleum, nature takes around millions of years, but to burn them, it just takes fractions of second. These were crushed into the earth, perhaps by earthquakes or volcanic eruptions. Means they have gone inside the earth's surface because of some natural activity. They were pressed down by layers of earth and rock. Means layer after layer after layer has been added above them. Okay, then they slowly decayed into coal. Oil and gas are remains of millions of tiny plants and animals that live in the sea. Okay, so if we are using petrol or diesel, okay, that means they are the remains of living organisms millions of years earlier. Okay, in the sea. When they died, their bodies sank to the seabed and were covered by silt. Bacteria attacked the dead remains, turning them into oil and gas under high pressures they were being subjected to. Okay. Meanwhile, the silt was slowly compressed into rock. The oil and gas seeped into the porous parts of the rock and got trapped like water in a sponge, and that is why we drill the rocks to get out those petroleums. Can you guess why coal and petroleum are called fossil fuels? Yes, because they are made of fossils. Okay, and next topic is section 4.3.2, that is oxidation. About this we will study in the next video, and I hope you have enjoyed our today's video. If you have any question, if you want to ask any doubt, you can comment in the comment section of this video. And at last, again I request you all to please subscribe the channel Pratik Singh Classes and hit the bell icon for all to get instant notifications. Okay, so till next video, take care of yourself. Bye bye.